What's happening, guys? Happy Sunday and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone podcast. On today's show, we're going to be talking, is it time for a redo? Is it time to do over what we've learned in rookie season? But a co-host I would never do over is my co-host. You know him better as the man of the hour and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair, buddy. You ready to talk rookies again for a week?
Listen, why not, right? We went only talking about them. We gave it a little break, but then that drug starts creeping into the back of your mind and you just want it back again.
Well, it's that OTA. It's that OTA. You're seeing them, there's been additional signings, J.K. Dobbins going to Denver. How did that impact R.J. Harvey? The Daniel Jones news, we talked about that last week. What has that done for Tyler Warren? Cleveland, as we've thought through that situation, have we rethought Judkins? So we're going to go around. We'll definitely talk about the first rounders, and then we'll also spin through maybe a few of the second rounders or anyone that Jerry wants to talk about. But what's going on in the world of Jerry? You making any trades? You getting after it in the dynasty world?
Nothing crazy. I saw some little baby trades lately. Nothing to set your pants on fire about. I feel like we've hit the lull, right? We've hit that point in time where everyone's sort of just content to see what they got until the preseason starts, and then we'll get excited again. We also got Scott Fishbowl coming up, so I mean that's gonna distract me a little bit from making any stupid board trades.
Yeah, Scott Fishbowl's in a couple of weeks. The theme this year is sports. And what sport did you pick, Jerry? Now, you probably picked underwater basket weaving, or he chose Michigan State football.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, buddy. And it's on Sleeper, which I prefer. I am so happy to not have my fantasy league. Sorry to all of you purists that love it. But nope, Michigan State, pick 8. And you know how much prep I'm going to do? Absolutely zero, Randy.
It's funny you say that. I, too, am in the Scott Fishbowl League. I went to all my favorite teams, right? Colts, full. Boston Red Sox, full. Don't really have an NBA team. I used to root for the Spurs. I was a big Tim Duncan guy. Which probably doesn't surprise anybody who's watched his show for any length of time. He's boring and understated, but damn, he was good at basketball. But all those teams were full, right? So I'm like flipping through, and I wanted MFL, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But I went with a fictional sports team.
Okay, hold on. Whoa.
Fictional sports team.
All right, give me like a recent movie or no?
About 20 years. It's a comedy.
20 years.
I can give you one actor.
Is it Adam Sandler?
It is not.
Okay.
I'm going to give you Ben Stiller.
Are you the Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller.
Oh, are you what are they, the Cobras?
Yeah, I'm the Globo Gym Purple Cobras.
That fits.
I'm in the Globo. It's White Goodman. Globo Gym, Purple Cobras. Heck yeah, man. I just saw it. I was like, you know what? That's on MFL.
You're a gym bro too, so that works out pretty well.
I wish I had that hair. That's beautiful head of hair. But the reason why I choose MFL is because the Scott Fishbowl draft, there's 8 hours. Well, the first pick, I think it's 3 hours. But what I like about Scott Fishbowl is on MFL, you can use all of the historical data to look at what they did last year. That makes, because the Scott Fishbowl scoring is very unique. It is very unique to that format. And it's not like your standard PPR, like you would value this guy here or this guy there because of the point premiums for quarterbacks, tight ends, etc. I'm looking for points per game. That's all I'm looking for. And I'm drafting points per game per round. And that feature on MFL gives me that little advantage. Has it worked out for me? One time I finished in the top 16. In fairness, there were like 1,200 players. Now there's like 12,000 or
Bazillion.
there are a bunch. So that's why I like MFL. I typically have time during the day to draft so I can be on a desktop laptop and I don't have to do it always from my phone. If I were doing it strictly from my phone, let's say I was a truck driver, was driving a semi in the
Bro, you better not be on your damn phone if you're a truck driver.
No, sir. But like when you're at the rest stop chasing away the lot lizards, you may have to make.
That's one of my favorite things ever.
You may have to make a Scott Fishbowl pick, and that's not super convenient if you don't have like a laptop and Wi-Fi. It's just easier to do on your phone. But because of the life that I live, no lot lizards in my life, I thought I would. I thought I would just, go MFL. And we got Chuck Bass, by the way.
Fucking GOAT.
Dude, if there is a better fantasy-related follow on X, I'll kiss your ass. There's not. He is gold, and he's in the YouTube comments, and Chuck said he finished 16th in the Scott Fishbowl League once. He said there were 12 teams. But
Bro, I feel it.
I love Chuck. He is the an absolute go-to. He actually is. You remember what Twitter fantasy football was like 7-8 years ago when you and I first met?
Yeah, the good days.
Chuck brings it back to those days. But Jerry, we have some redoing to redo, and but we got to talk about Fast Draft. Now we got to get Jerry set up. Let the pod.
Listen. Blame Iowa, man.
Why is Iowa got to be the way they are? Hot. You were talking about fire wind.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's not great, but in Indiana, not much better. But if you live in a better state than Indiana or Iowa, you may want to play Fast Draft.
Let's face it, most people that play fantasy, they don't play DFS, they don't play big best ball tournaments. Why? Because it's too complicated and they feel like they can't win. And that's why we developed the Fast Draft Flex 4 game. You just draft any 6 guys, the top 4 enter your lineup every week. So if you love Garrett Wilson, you think he's going to outscore Tyreek Hill, or you love Breece Hall, and you think he's going to outscore Devon Achane because you're a big Jets fan, if you're right, you will make money. You don't need to be running big data models. You don't need to be soaked in strategy and understand the schedule forwards and backwards. That's the beauty of Flex 4. Sure, those with great strategy win more money, but those that have strong takes on players can also go out and monetize those positions. And the beauty is it's just $5 a draft, just $5. You can draft 150 times and the winner gets 10 grand. So use your host promo code to get a $50 deposit match. So when you deposit, use that promo code and then you get $50 on me, because Flex 4 is a whole new way to play best ball.
That was my addiction last weekend when I was down in Georgia for the baseball tournament. Like I said, I live in a bum state. We're not yet legal to play Fast Draft here. You're not yet either. Mm-hmm. But man, like I said, my son's going to the University of Cincinnati. I will be blasting through drafts. It's incredibly fun, takes 8 minutes. And if you use promo code WarZone, dollar for dollar match up to $50, and that turns 50 into 100 Fast Draft dollars. That's 20 drafts on the Flex 4. 20 drafts. That's 160-ish minutes, Jerry, of enjoyment. Pretty good deal.
Can't top it, brother.
I'm not going to say that. So anyway, I did a guest spot, and the podcast will drop a little bit later of the week. I joined Dustin Royer from the Dynasty Rewind channel, and we talked wide receivers. And Jerry, like when you go on another podcast, you do the occasional.
I do.
Stop by. He gave me a gift. He gave me a parting gift or a thank you gift for coming on the show. And that was doing the work of this week's Good People, Bad Tweets. And it came from a repeat offender, someone who's been on Good People, Bad Tweets before. And it's good old David J. Galtieri at Guru Fantasy World.
He's got a couple under his belt.
Man, he might be the GOAT. He might have more rings than Belichick. I want to finish every draft with Miles Sanders, Sean Tucker, or Isaiah Davis. All 3 were top 30 RBs in PFF rushing grade last year, which, by the way, David, PFF rushing grade equals 0 fucking fantasy points. 0. All right. Sanders might be better than Javonte Williams, but you know what? He's not better than Jaden Blue. So that's a horrible take. Tucker might be better than Rashad White. He's not. Don't let the recency bias fool you. And Isaiah Davis might be better than Braylon Allen. I wouldn't let Isaiah Davis wash my truck. So what the hell are we talking about?
No.
What the hell are we talking about? Every draft, you have to have one of these guys. Are they carrying your luggage? They're walking your dog.
Listen, I mean, like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, I got a bunch of stuff because I forgot that Miles Sanders was on the Cowboys. So that shows how much I give a singular F word about that dude. What are we talking about here? If you're relying on Miles Sanders or Isaiah Davis or anything, and you think it's going to help your dynasty team, yes, you can want that all you want. And I want my manhood to grow 3 more inches, and so does my wife, but it's just not going to happen. I am stuck with what I got, and it's disappointment. And that's what Miles Sanders and Isaiah Davis and whatever person that is irrelevant to a dynasty team that you said.
If Miles Sanders, Sean Tucker, and Isaiah Davis walked into a bar, nobody would talk to him.
No, I don't.
Nobody would talk to him.
Like, imagine a situation, Randy, where somehow you have them on your team and you're in the playoffs, right? When are you going to play them? What situation is it going to take for you to play Isaiah Davis?
See,
you need Breece Hall traded or gone, blasted off to the moon. You need Braylon Allen blasted off to the moon, or to have his legs chopped off by a medieval knight. And then are you still going to think he's the best start you have? No.
One little descriptor could have changed this entire thing. Had David J said, I'm going to finish every underdog best ball draft with one of these guys, fine. But, I'm reading the comments. I don't normally read the comments. Jerry, you read the comments.
I do.
It's like somebody said, how long are you holding? Which means that person is talking from a redraft perspective, where you typically draft 16 players and you have a very shallow bench of 5 to 7 players. This is horrible advice unless you put the disclaimer of best ball.
Which just means they're bad. This is a thing. If you tell me somebody's good for best ball and I play Dynasty and we're talking about Dynasty, that just means they're not good.
Well, this tweet wasn't good.
No.
And due to I don't want to say technical difficulty, but Dana White was awful broke up this weekend. John Jones retired. Speaking of goats, we called Chuck Bass the GOAT, and John Jones retired this weekend. So Dana White took the weekend off. He'll be back next week helping us berate people who make bad tweets. Jerry, let's get into what is going to be the meat of the show, and that's going to be the rookie draft do-over. Like you mentioned your lovely wife. You think she wants a do-over?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, my wife hasn't gotten past the sunk cost fallacy yet. She doesn't realize that just because she's got a lot of time invested doesn't mean she can't start over. But I won't tell her if you guys won't tell her. So we'll just go over some rookie ADP, and you can tell me if they went too soon, or you wouldn't draft them as high now because of, again, RJ Harvey's the perfect example. He was hotter than fish. He was hotter than fish grease when he went to Denver, and then all of a sudden J.K. Dobbins shows up, and it's time to cool the Jets. So give me your feels. Ashton Genty, 101.
Fine.
I mean,
we're chilling on that one.
Nobody you would have wanted to go back and say, hey, I'd like to get him.
No, I'm fine with him at 101 still.
All right. And I will do this from a super flex perspective, because that's what we
play the game of the gods, sir.
Yes.
Super flex tight end premium.
Omarion Hampton, 102.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm also, we're gonna talk about Cam Ward real soon.
You're on the clock.
I'm fine with him there.
You're on the clock.
It depends on my team. I'm either going Omarion Hampton or I'm going Cam Ward.
Well, you're getting to my first conversation point.
Here, actually, let me be more specific.
Okay.
I am probably. I got to do my math real quick. Hold on.
You got to take your shoes off?
No, I should be good.
I hope you're
I'm
not
like,
counting to 21.
No. I'm like 50% of the time I'm taking Omarion Hampton. 30% of the time I'm taking Cam Ward. 20% of the time I'm taking Travion Henderson. I'm super in on Travion. I don't know what it is.
Well, that's one of my other talking point guys. So I'm with you on Hampton. You're on the clock at the 102. Before rookie landing spots, everything, I had Omarion Hampton locked in at the 102, and hindsight always being 2020, I think I would do a do-over. I think my 102 would be Cam Ward. The more I watch, the more I'm not saying Jaden Daniels, but
man, you don't need him to be that either.
I need him to be 80% of rookie Jaden Daniels, maybe not even 80, maybe 75%.
Yes. I mean,
and like 85% of rookie CJ Stroud. And I think he can do it, man. I think they've got a good offensive line in Tennessee. I think they've got good enough skill position guys. Yeah, they're a little bit aged, but you have to do that when the young guys aren't any good. I'm looking at you, Traylon.
But also you're gonna be able to use the age of the skill position players to your advantage also. Because they're going to bring in more talent as time comes along, and his value is stable, and it is only likely to increase. It's going to take an Anthony Richardson-esque absolute collapse for that to happen. And we've seen Cam Ward for like 5 years in college football. We saw Anthony Richardson for like 9 games. So you're very much unlikely to see that same sort of absolute catastrophic downfall. So I'm fine with Cam Ward. Honestly, there's an argument that he could be taken 101. Like if somebody took Cam Ward 101, I wouldn't be upset, Randy. Like I wouldn't be like, well, that's a fucking terrible pick and you're an idiot. Like I think it's fine.
Yeah, I as a Colts fan, I'm not super stoked that he's in the AFC South. But I like his mentality. I like his makeup, and I think that kid's going to be he's a football junkie the way that Jaden Daniels is a football junkie, and we may have slept on him a little bit. I think
we were haters. We were haters for sure.
Yeah, we weren't haters. We just weren't early adopters, and that's why we're doing a do-over. Speaking of another guy that I was not an early adopter to, what about Tet McMillan?
I'm still the same on Tet. I think at best we're looking at like T. Higgins, and T. Higgins is like a 1,000 yard receiver. I mean, his ceiling is maybe like 1,150, and you're hoping that Bryce Young gets better. You're hoping that he can translate pretty quickly. I just like, do you foresee that offense being prolific? I don't think you do either. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to chase touchdowns. We're trying to chase yards. We're trying to chase fantasy points. And if the opportunities are just not there with a non-explosive offense, I don't know that I want to rely on him. Like, I'm fine. I have him in a couple leagues. We share a team, and we took him at like 108 or 109 or something. Like, I'm fine taking a shot there. But like early, like I've seen him go 102, and that's never going to be me. I wish you good luck. I'm not saying that it's not possible for him to hit and be one of those guys, but like I wouldn't take Garrett Wilson at 102 right now, and I think Garrett Wilson is exponentially better than he is.
Well, where do you think this is last year, which is Dave Canales, the head coach of I don't want to say play caller, but like the offensive guru. That's where he came from, Tampa Bay, to get this thing jump started. Where do you think they ranked last year in pass attempts per game, and how many?
I wouldn't be able to guess how many, but I would say top 14.
19.
Okay.
32 a game. And let's just do some simple math, okay? Let's say Bryce Young, completes 65% of his passes, okay? That's 22 to 23 completions a game. Adam Thielen's there. Hunter Renfro's back. Tet McMillan's there.
And I know you hear those names and you think, those are old and busted, but those are the pros on the team. They're going to get some of that.
Correct. And it's like, I just don't see the volume. I see the talent for Tet McMillan to return that investment cost. He's going to need to be as efficient as Mike Evans. He's going to need to be able to give you touchdowns. He's going to need to be able to give you chunk plays because he's
which is not impossible. It's not impossible for him to get that.
It's not probable, but it is possible.
Of course, like if he is really that guy, then yes, he'll be able to return that value. I think in that early first round rookie pick range, that's a little too risky for me. I would much rather take the running backs.
Well, speaking of the running backs, I want to talk about a guy that you're super high on, and I'm actually mad at myself for not being higher on Travion Henderson, because I always pride myself on being the guy that, understands where he's at, who he's playing for, what that guy has done with similar skills before. And to me, I look at Josh McDaniels and what he did with guys like James White and Danny Woodhead and so many other shifty but not athletic running backs. He is getting the turbocharged, the best version of a James White. He's getting elite athleticism. He's getting everything to put in that role. And we saw those guys become wide receiver ones. Dion Lewis was in this offense. And now you're going to give me a guy who's as talented as Travion Henderson in that offense with a mobile quarterback, not a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson, but a mobile quarterback. I think Travion, hindsight, the do-over of this, could he have been like, let's go one QB. Could he have been the 102? Would that have been fair?
I'm fine with it.
I mean, looking back, I'm thinking, yeah.
I mean, is there a chance that he outperforms Amari and Hampton in his career? Yeah.
There's a chance. He's the number. When we look back and we're talking whatever next year, we'll always be talking shit. Well, we'll be talking this time next year. It is in the range of outcomes, even if everyone stays healthy, where Travion Henderson is the number 1 point scoring rookie in this class from the 100%. Running back position. And it's now, what percentage would I put on that? 10% chance,
probably.
maybe 15. I mean, the clear favorite, the leader in the clubhouse, is clearly Ashton Genty. Yeah. Probably a 65-70% favorite. I think O'Marion Hampton's in there with 20-ish.
I think and then
Travion Henderson.
Travion.
I'm just talking
Travis
running back right now.
Oh, okay, got it.
RJ Harvey would be a dark horse. He would be like the dark horse. He's got Sean Payton. He's got limited competition. But that's how I would rank him. I just feel dumb for not being higher on Travion Henderson.
I mean, I have been a fan of Travion Henderson, but I think since we did most of our rookie drafts, I think I've actually grown more to love him. I really have. Like, I am all aboard. I'm going to draft him in my only redraft league. I think I only have one redraft league, maybe two. I'm going to go for Travion Henderson. Like, I just believe. And in 365 days from now, there is a real possibility that I look stupid for saying it. But how long have we done this show, and how many times have I said nice things about Ramondre Stevenson? 0 times. Never have I said a nice word about Ramondre Stevenson. So if he's the competition, why in the hell would I not think Travion Henderson is about to just drop his hammer on that backfield and handle it? So I'm about it. And I just don't think Drake May is the best thing in the world. I think he's fine. I think he's good. I think the team does not need to rely on him to win, and that's not what they should do. And if that's the case, Travion.
I mean, look at the guy, and we've done the math, and I did not do shit with math. Graham Barfield did it years ago that a running back target is worth more than a running back rush attempt. Graham Barfield's work. I would never try to take attribution from that because he did the work. But who is Ashton Genty competing for targets against? Brock Bowers, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Jacoby Myers,
Pretty good.
Pretty good. What about a Marion Hampton? Lab McConkey, pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, Travion Henderson. I mean, Stephon Diggs coming off of a knee injury. Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry. I mean, I could see where he's literally the number 2 or number 3 target in total targets for the season. Points. It is all about Travion Henderson. I want to talk about a guy we know that you never wavered on this guy. So I got my hat on backwards. I can't tip it because my headphones would fall off. But you were never wavered on Travis Hunter. And now it looks like he's going to be predominantly offense, at least to start his career, which makes sense given that you just gave Trevor Lawrence $250 million. You need him to play well. He's listed at the 106 in a superflex format. I think that's going to be a value. I think it's fair.
I think it's fine. I would have him higher than that, I think. But he's also my wide receiver 1. Like, I just think he's the best talent that there is. I think it is Ashton Genty, and I think it is Travis Hunter. And Ashton Genty only because of the situation that he's in with the draft capital and the lack of competition, not because he's comparable talent-wise. Travis Hunter got the chance to be a Malik Neighbors type. I don't think he is Malik Neighbors. I don't think he is refined enough. I think he has the potential to. I just don't think he has had the 100% focus towards the receiver position to be what Malik Neighbors is. But Randy, good God, man's awesome.
You know, and I want to apologize in advance to the listeners if I seem somewhat distracted. I'm not, like I said, I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm not a basketball
brother.
fan,
It's game 7.
But
you can watch it out of the corner of your screen. That'll be fine.
I've got it on just here off to the side. You know, go Pacers, the yesers. So I'm a little distracted. He's still technically, I think, from preseason ADP. I think if it was to go like a draft today, I think the ADP would be different. But Quinshawn Judkins, he was going in right here in this 107 to 108 range. And with a mulligan, a do-over, if you will, I don't think I'm taking him here. I don't think I'm taking him here. I just, it would be tough. It would be tough for me to push the button there ahead of RJ Harvey. And that's what I was alluding to. It's like RJ Harvey clearly going ahead of him now. And we have a dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, no, I just think Quinshawn Judkins is exponentially better than RJ Harvey. I really do, and I don't think J.K. Dobbins is nothing. I mean, he gets hurt, but if J.K. Dobbins plays, I'm sorry, he's a better prospect. He's a better running back. He's everything about him is better. He was a better pass catcher. He played better competition. And I've seen him do it in the NFL a little bit. I mean, it was one thing. It was one thing when RJ Harvey was going against Jaleel Sarah McLaughlin and Audric Estime. And I'm not saying J.K. Dobbins is like set your nipples on fire. He's awesome, but he's much better than both of those guys. And they didn't just sign him to a pretty decent contract, considering he's been injured so much. After they already drafted Estime in like the 4th round or something last year. And then they drafted RJ Harvey in the 2nd round this year. And then they still felt the need to sign this man to a relatively juicy contract, even if it's only 1 year.
It was what, 4 months? 4 months after free agency? He was a free agent in March. If
100%.
If their nipples were so hard to go
but obviously, I mean, we're talking about a dude who has had multiple catastrophic injuries. So that's there. Of course, you're not going to be like, ooh, I just have to get J.K. Dobbins on my team. But when he's
injured
still
in March?
there,
No, he wasn't injured in March.
No. But like he wasn't a priority, yes. But also clearly RJ Harvey wasn't either. because they signed him. Like J.K.
What-
Dobbins is going to have a role, and I think J.K. Dobbins is going to get the first nod. And in the first 2 games of the season last year, don't you roll your eyes at me, Randall Young. Bro went off for 100 yards in both of them. And if Bro goes off for 100 yards in both of these games, you know what's going to happen to R.J. Harvey's touches?
And where was R.J. Harvey drafted?
I don't know.
Second
60th?
round.
Yeah.
The second round, exactly. So he was. So Sean, so I just want to make sure I have the timeline correct. I don't want to get this backwards. Sean Payton in March could have signed J.K. Dobbins. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Could have.
Could he have signed him before the draft?
Yeah.
Okay, so who was the first running back? He said, "I got to have this guy on my team."
No, but
hold on.
It was R.J. Harvey.
Okay, and then 2 months later, he decides we're going to throw J.K. Dobbins. Did anyone think that R.J. Harvey was going to get 300 carries and be used like Derrick Henry?
I believe last episode you said he had a chance to be a top 5 running back
based on the receptions, dum.
Yeah,
based on the
receptions hanging from my legs.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, there's a guy who can't stay healthy that they signed in June. Yeah, that's not the guy that I'm really worried about.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he's awesome. He is going to be a thorn in your side all season until his ACL snaps. Once that happens, then I'll shut the hell up.
In those meaningless 20 to 20 yard touches.
I'm just saying.
The worst case, the worst best case.
To circle back around, hold on. Mom and Dad had been arguing for a long time. To circle back around, Quinshon Judkins doesn't have to deal with that. Quinshon Judkins is just living his best life in the smog-infested off the coast of Lake Erie.
In one of the worst. Now, I will say this: Cleveland did have the most pass attempts per game last year, so that's a something. But from like the touchdown upside, that is one of the worst offenses in the league.
I don't disagree.
He's good for Judkins to be super fun.
You know, he's not going to be fun. He's not going to be fun.
He's going to need to be involved in the passing game. Part of what made Nick Chubb so good in Cleveland was the offense was decent. They had Baker.
They had a great offensive line at the time also.
Correct. And they were scoring touchdowns.
100%.
Because Nick Chubb was never overly involved in the passing game. He was involved, but not what I would consider overly involved. And that's my concern with Judkins. I think if you're not trying to win this year, I'm totally fine with going Judkins.
I just think Judkins is like safe RB2. Like, I'm going to get RB18 and I'm just going to stick him in my pocket. And he's never going to have tons of trade value. And he's never going to be overly sexy. He's going to be like Frank Gore 2/3 into his career. You know, before he was too old, but he was also still getting like 1,180 yards, 1,200 yards. Like what Najee Harris does every year. Like nobody has Najee Harris and they're like, ooh, do you want to trade for Najee Harris? No, because his points are going to be worth more than what his trade value is, but also his points aren't that much. Like I think he's just like RB18, RB20, RB14 at best. I think that's better. I think that's better than what RJ Harvey is going to be consistently. Well, I'm not saying there's not a chance RJ Harvey can't have a spike season and be better than that, but I think consistently I just don't see it.
We're going to talk about the guy who replaced Najee Harris right after this.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams. And then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs. And then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes pick values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to All In and get $25 off.
You cannot beat the Podfather on an ad read. You mentioned Najee Harris. He's going to be the thorn. Let me use your verbiage against you. He's going to be the thorn in the side of Omarion Hampton. But let's talk about the guy who replaced Najee Harris, and that's Caleb Johnson. And he's feeling more like a value every time I look into the situation. He feels like a value, Jerry.
I think there is an argument that he should be drafted ahead of both Quinshon Judkins and RJ Harvey. Because what are we looking at? When has Jaylen Warren done anything for you? Like, what are we talking about? How many yards has he had over his time? Like in his season? What's his season high? 300 and something, probably? 400 and something? Oh, they signed Kenneth Gainwell. When was the last time Kenneth Gainwell did anything? Crickets?
I mean,
Tumbleweeds rolling across the desert? Like, we're talking about two guys who get you like 300 yards. Like, we've had fullbacks get that. Like, get out of here. Caleb Johnson, man. I'm not going to say he's to the moon because I don't think he's like a supreme talent, but good God. Better than RJ Harvey. I'm taking Caleb Johnson over RJ Harvey 87 times out of 100. Now, I know you hate me for that, and you think I'm dumb. You think I'm just young, dumb, unwise.
Yes. All of those things. It just feels like this is the right situation. And I think it was okay to have been a little down on Caleb Johnson when there was no quarterback, but it's not like we didn't know Aaron Rodgers was walking through that door. And they brought in DK Metcalf. Calvin Austin's a thing. We talked about this last week. I like Roman Wilson way more than you do. And I think that's going to be an interesting offense. But if you get that boring RB11 out of Caleb Johnson, I'm not going to hate it.
Oh,
I'm not going to.
I mean, I think that's probably his ceiling, though, Randy. I think him and Quinshon are sort of in that same boat. Like if you can get RB19 out of him, and you can get it 2 or 3 times over the course of his career, hell yeah! Like that's a win, especially where Caleb Johnson's going. Like anywhere from early, right after the NFL draft, he was an early second. He's definitely not that anymore. But like 108, 111, sort of in that range. If I can get a couple top 24 seasons, sign me up, brother.
No, I agree. And I mean, I saw him going as late as like the 201, 202 and tight end premium superflex drafts. They're different players, so don't hear what I'm not saying. But do you remember when Devon Achane was going in that range of rookie drafts?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Caleb Johnson's going to go out there and do what Devon Achane did. I'm just saying he could be that level of a value. A guy that you got at that 1-2 turn who ends up being a big-time player for your team. Guy that I wanted to bring up, and he was part of, I mean, if you look at the thumbnail from our homie Brittany does all of our thumbnails. We shout her out every week because she's worthy of said shout out. She is amazing. But one is Quinshon Judkins. The other one is Tyler Warren. And I think people were down initially on Tyler Warren because there was this concern about Anthony Richardson. And as we discussed at great detail last week, I don't think Anthony Richardson is going to be the guy in Indianapolis. It's going to be Danny Dimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I try not to fall for the Jerry Sinclair nipple hardening of the OTA Twitter sphere. But I have absolutely fallen in love with what's been the connection between Danny Dimes and Tyler Warren. He looks like every bit the mismatch at the pro level that he is or was in college. He is using that 6'5", 250 pounds to his advantage. I don't know. I am stoked. I think he went too low before the draft, before the landing position was known. He was my clear tight end one. I let the landing spot clear my judgment, or cloud my judgment. Not clear it, clouded it. But I'm pretty stoked for what I've seen with Tyler Warren. I think he could have went a skosh higher.
Yeah, he has had the biggest roller coaster sort of all of the elite guys. Because pre-draft, he was like, there's an argument that Tyler Warren's the 102 in tight end premium. And then it was like during rookie drafts, all of a sudden he was going at 202, 203 at the latest. And now I think we've gotten him in the 109, 110 range. I agree that it's going to be Danny Dimes. I think it's fine for him. I don't think he's Brock Bowers. I don't think he's going to be in a prolific enough offense to be Sam Laporta, but he doesn't need to be. Like, he doesn't need to be. Like, you greedy bastards. Like, if he can get you 6 touchdowns and 450 yards, you know what that makes him, Randy? That makes him like a top 8 tight end. And if that's who I'm going to get in a tight end premium league for the cost of like 111, like 110, depending how much you like him, maybe later, that's fine. Like, that's good. I'm in on the man. You're right. Anthony Richardson did depress his value too much. We were in the midst of everybody was hating on Anthony Richardson, and then Tyler Warren went there and he got a little bit of that flack. And that was not fair to him because Anthony Richardson was never going to be the quarterback there for a long time. He's just not. So the situation was going to change. It was going to improve. Tyler Warren was going to be a benefactor of that. Danny Dimes may not be a giant jump up, but he is a jump up. And then if he sucks, guess what? We get a new quarterback next year. Because if Danny Dimes sucks, Randy, he's not just going to like mediocre suck. Like, we're not talking about he's going to be Derek Carr, because that's, you know, that might actually be better than him. No, he's going to be catastrophically bad. And if he's catastrophically bad, very early pick. New exciting young quarterback. Ta-da. Like, we're fine. I'm cool with Tyler Warren, Randy. He's fine.
You know, for me, I'm trying to figure out what season Shane Steichen took over in Indianapolis. And because in 2022, the Colts were in the top 10 in pass attempts per game. Last year, with the combination of Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco, they were in the bottom 7. So to think, I mean, I don't know that you turn Danny Dimes loose at a prolific Joe Burrow rate.
Not when you got Jonathan Taylor.
Here's the thing. It's like, if Danny Dimes is the guy who's, you know, the more accurate one, you're in trouble. But I like this offense. I'm trying to get pieces of it because of Daniel Jones. I think it's going to be a boon for Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. Don't forget about Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's a great person to take a shot on.
And you remember the bad tweet that we had to be, you know, a little bit ago in the show. And if you play in best ball to see, because Uncle Memphis is always smart enough to denote what kind of fantasy football we're playing. If you want to leave every draft with an Alec Pierce type, cool. Because we know Alec Pierce is going to win you at least a game, right? He's gonna have one game in a given week where Alec Pierce is gonna. But you wouldn't do that. So I like this offense, but I want to shift to Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland also, I don't want to say the draft spot hurt his value. I think what helped him was that he was the first tight end off the board.
Yeah.
And the Bears said, no, we can have Tyler Warren. No, thank you very much. We have a plan. Ben Johnson, I'm a smart guy. I have a plan. I'm Ben Johnson. I used a guy like Sam Laporta. And I think there's been some luster off of Colston Loveland since the night of the NFL draft.
All right, snap reaction. He goes 10th overall to the Chicago Bears. What's everybody's reaction? Right? Dynasty cliche, a lot of mouths to feed. And then it became an echo chamber. And then it just became a thing where his value became depressed. That's dumb. Keenan Allen was 155 years old. He was never going to continue to play there. DJ Moore is, what's he, 30? Pretty close to 30, probably. Probably not that. He's probably like 28. Roma Dunze, we haven't seen tons of stuff from him. We're hoping. I'm hoping. But Colston Loveland was the Michigan offense last year. And he was the Michigan passing game offense the national championship season. And he got drafted number 10 overall. And he's got Ben Johnson. And he's got Caleb Williams in. But I was always a Colston Loveland is my tight end one guy. So that has not flipped for me. It's going to be up and down. There's going to be weeks. He's going to be like every tight end in the world, right? Who's not like George Kittle. Like, there's going to be weeks where he does nothing for you. That's part of our game. Like, it's a mean game. We play a mean game. So you just have to understand that that's going to be the case. But there's also going to be times that he goes for 80 yards and a tutty. And you know what? Cool with that. Like, I am cool with that. There's nothing that suggests he's not going to be a consistent top 12 to 14 tight end for the foreseeable future. And brother, for where you are picking him in your rookie draft, nothing wrong with that.
You know, I mentioned before, and so if you're watching this live on YouTube, Player Profiler YouTube channel, thank you very much. It'll come out later in the week. Before this podcast, I recorded with the Dynasty Rewind guys, and I mentioned that, and I believe you're going to see a lot more 12 personnel this year. I think you're only going to continue to see more 2 tight ends. And to see a guy like Colston Loveland win in the way that Travis Kelce has won in the NFL over the last few years, the way that you can go back to Aaron Hernandez. Like, if they tried to run some kind of high-low, goofy version of the Gronk Aaron Hernandez days with Loveland and Kmet, I could totally see it. I think it would come at the expense of a Dunze. And to answer your question, DJ Moore is 28.
Okay. My second guess was right.
He is 28 years old, 28.2. So you're talking not quite 3 months. So there you go. I mean, he's speaking of like a dynasty asset, just a guy that I don't want to say we're fatigued of, but like he's no longer going to be sexy.
Yes, we are.
No, people get it, dude. Player fatigue is a real thing.
100%.
And you've had a chance to show love or show hate or indifference to DJ Moore since 2018. You want to go on to the new hotness. I think DJ Moore is still a solid dynasty wide receiver too.
I agree with you.
Love him. All right, so we've covered most of the first round and a little bit at the top of the second round. Was there anybody that you didn't that we didn't bring up yet that you would like to bring up now, whether that's someone else?
Let's see. I mean, we could talk about Jackson Dart. How do we feel about it? Because you're waiting. You're waiting.
So he's one where I'm actually able to calm myself a little bit. I like the swag. I like I love the way that his teammates love him. You know, when they showed the stuff like the highlight snippets of Mississippi State. But then when it was actually Ole Miss, Mississippi State's maroon.
Miss, yeah.
Yeah. When he was in the pocket and like he spins the ball, you know, like the way a gunfighter would spin like their pistol in the Old West. He literally spins the football in his hand and then rips it about 40 yards down the field right in a bucket. I don't know. I've calmed my emotions for Jackson Dart, but man, I love Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to rely on Jackson Dart. And I mean, nothing since we've done our rookie drafts has changed about that. Like, I think I probably have one share just to take a shot. Just, I don't know, Randy. There's something about that situation that just stinks. I'm hoping Malik Neighbors makes him worth it. And I don't want to pick a guy if I think he's dependent on another guy, at least to that extent. So he's just not my fella. He's just does not get me excited. At least at this cost. And I have to wait. And I'm impatient, man. Like I know I talk about tight ends and say you need to wait for them. But dude, when it comes to quarterbacks, like I want my money now. Straight cash, homie.
I believe by Halloween, Jackson Dart will be the starting quarterback.
Over both?
First of all, Jameis is the backup.
Don't. Okay, yeah. You damn right, brother.
Right. No matter who's the starter, Jameis is the backup.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not putting Mr. 30-30 back there.
Oh, but God, I wish we would.
Dude, I from a fantasy standpoint, like if you love Malik Neighbors, that's a cash cow. It's 100% because but Jameis, he's gonna throw it away. And I am not the Devy guru that a lot of people are, but I know enough to know that this coming quarterback class is way better than this past class. I don't want to say it's going to be on par with the 2024 draft class, but it is very highly regarded in the potential quarterbacks that could come out. If you're New York, you have to see who this kid is. The Giants play the toughest schedule in the NFL this year.
So they may have a pretty early pick, brother.
Well, I don't remember what they traded. They didn't give away the farm the way the Atlanta Falcons did to trade back into the first round, but they did trade. I don't know I don't remember the trade to get back into the first round to get Dart, but I don't know if it was their future first. I do not know. But my point was going to be is that you have to be able to see what Jackson Dart is at the NFL. Is he competent? Is he a guy that we can give another full year as our starter? How does he work with Malik Neighbors? How does he work with Cam Scatterbo? How does he work with Tyron Tracy? How does he work with Theo Johnson? How does the offense look, right? Because if not, you got to be prepared to draft that because to your point, they're going to be drafting very high and you're going to want to know. So if you invested in Jackson Dart, you're going to get to see him sooner rather than later. I would wait for the next guns. For me, my guy, Terrence Turd Ferguson. And if there was ever a guy who looked like a Turd Ferguson, I think, his ADP crept up, but he's a guy that I think he makes it a big three at tight end. And part of it is his size and, metrics on Player Profiler. But part of it is that situation. Part of it is like, again, I've been in leadership too long, right? I know what it's like to see someone hand selected. Doesn't mean it always works out, guys. Doesn't mean it's always a slam dunk that it works out. But to see a guy, an RJ Harvey, a Terrence Ferguson, hand selected by a coach that I have a ton of respect for, and a coach who has put a ton. Sean Payton has fed fantasy football players for 2 decades plus. McVay's going on a decade. I love this landing spot. I love the fact that there's an aging veteran in front of him. I would, if I had to do it over again, I'd be higher on. I don't love his headshot on PlayerProfiler.com. I'm going to be honest. Looks like he might be on like a certain registry, but hey, that's neither here nor there. I wish I had more Terrence Ferguson.
I've got quite a bit, but I've also taken tons of shots on the tight ends because once we get to like the Jack Becks of the world and the Cam Scattabos, like I'm not taking any of them. I have none of those players. I wish you luck.
I think
said
Mason
earlier
Taylor
about a different player.
Mason Taylor is going to be another interesting guy because
all of those tight ends, Randy, are like I'm taking a shot on all of them. I'm cool with Elijah Arroyo. Are we really going to rely on Noah Fant?
Well, there's also AJ Barner.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
He's
AJ Barner's never been great. We just always talked about him because Noah Fant sucked. So he was just the other guy who wasn't Noah Fant.
Well, Elijah Arroyo, the one thing he has is that if he can break out, there's no target competition there.
Yeah.
No one's going to challenge JSN
No.
in Seattle, but someone's going to step up and take that number 2 role. I'd love it to be Cooper Kupp, and maybe Cooper Kupp does for half a year. Maybe he does every other game, but someone else is going to, and I've always mentioned as a dart throw, Torrey Horton, big Torrey Horton guy. But Jerry, anything else before we get up on out of here? The
one
Pacers.
More.
Okay, one more
real quick.
Okay.
Emeka Egbuka, Randy.
Okay.
Mike Evans is old. I feel like he is the absolute single most disrespected person in all of Dynasty rookie drafts this season. Emeka Egbuka has consistently been taken in the second round in most of my leagues. I don't know if I've seen Emeka Egbuka taken in the late first in more than 2 drafts. And I think he is a good enough player that is absolute disrespect. I think he's in a good enough situation where that's disrespectful. There's just a lot going on with Chris Godwin and with Mike Evans, but Mike Evans is like 32 and Chris Godwin is probably like 29 or 30. Like we are very close to Emeka Egbuka being a wide receiver 1 with Baker Mayfield, who has been throwing the hell out of the rock.
Okay, well, I've got to go back to my chart. So last year, Tampa, dead middle of the league, 33 pass attempts a game. Here's what I'm gonna say. I think Egbuka has been fairly drafted. I think he has been fairly drafted. I have seen him go routinely between the 110 and the 202 in superflex tight end premium. Again, I got to denote that superflex tight end premium. But that is where he lived. I think that's fair because you're going to have to wait a year. It's going to be a JSN situation. It's going to be a Roma Dunze situation. It's going to be an Emeka Egbuka situation because Chris Godwin didn't take less money to go back for a lesser role in Tampa Bay.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
He didn't say, "Hey, yeah, I'll take 30 mil less to go back to Tampa Bay because you're going to cut my targets." I don't think so. I don't think that there's not a world that exists where Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, you saw it last year in game 17. They ran Mike Evans back out there to get that man his 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
You have to understand if you're in. I think Egbuka is in a similar boat to Jackson Dart in that you're gonna have to wait a little bit. And if you're not a patient dynasty gamer, then Egbuka is not the guy for you. Because if you're not patient, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fuck around and you're gonna trade him about Halloween, and then come September of 2026. That's the finding a route. Drafting Emeka Egbuka in June or before to then trade him in September or October, that's the fucking around. What Emeka Egbuka does in 2026, that's the finding out.
I think this is going to be the cheapest we are going to see Emeka Egbuka over the next, we'll say, 36 months, barring injury, of course. Just based on his situation getting exponentially better and him also being a pretty talented guy, it seems like maybe 36 is a stretch, but 24 months over the next 2 years, I think this is going to be the cheapest we see Emeka Egbuka. And I think it is I think this is going to be a pretty good rookie class for us, and it'll be helpful for a lot of us, but also short-term situation sort of affects it. Randall, one more thing before we get out of here, and you can watch your Pacers. Harry Snowman is moving to Lisbon, Portugal. He has been a long supporter of this show. He is moving across the pond. I just want to wish him good luck. That's a hell of a thing. Moving sucks more than just about anything in the world, especially when you got little scrawny arms like me. Not everybody is built like Randall. So have fun. If I could speak Portuguese, I would do it, but we both know I'm dumber than a box of rocks.
Well, I mean, it's the usual cast of characters. It's Harry Snowman. It's Jamie. It's I saw Senior Fantasy in here. Terminal Sarcasm, another regular. All these fine people kept the chat lit. I guess Harry's just going to have to comment after the fact. What time is it in Portugal right now?
I think he said he was going to try and watch us as best he can, but it's probably the ass crack of
3 a.m. 3 a.m.
Yeah, probably
4 a.m. there. I mean, I know London's like 6 hours different than East Coast time, So if it's 9 p.m. here, it's 3 a.m. there.
Yeah.
I know my European geography is not what it once was, but I will say I am stoked for fantasy season. Next week, I think we should talk about trades you're making, guys you're trading for. Let's talk dynasty trades. And Jerry, what I will do is I will pester you. With some trade offers this week. Let's see if you and I can create some trades. We'll get our patrons to share some of their trades. Maybe we'll steal some out of our patron group chat. And that's the show, guys. If I had to recommend anything from an entertainment standpoint, it would be Fast Draft. And I know it sounds like I'm a shameless whore, and I am, but I wouldn't tell you this if it wasn't as fun as could be. Even if you're in a state that's not, just go, even if you're a state that's go download the Fast Draft app and play the free version of the 4 game. It is amazingly fun. Drafts fill. Oh, and in that free version, you can still win $1,000, Jerry. I don't know about you, but I'm not ever going to be to a point to where $1,000 is not a good amount of money.
Yeah, correct.
$1,000, still a lot of money. So check that out. If you're looking for like some deep dives and you like tools and resources, get the Dynasty Deluxe. You can get Fast Draft or Dynasty Deluxe. You can use promo code WarZone. Patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. But Jerry, we're at halftime.
Pacers up by 1.
Again, if you're here for the fantasy goodness, it is gone. This is a little bit of nonsense at the end. We always do a little bit of nonsense at the end. No Halliburton, playing on a sore calf, and popped the Achilles.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he did the.
Oh, I see it.
Who was the guy from the third man in the Golden State Warriors? The really good shooter, not Steph, but the other guy. Clay, Steph and Clay. He did what Clay did. He did what Jason Tatum did.
God, imagine that though. Like he's played basketball his whole life, right? It's what he's wanted to do to get to this point. You're in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and that happens. Like, fuck, man.
It's just a super bummer. I mean, it's a bummer that he's hurt. It would be a bummer if he did it in February and a game then. It's a super bummer because it's right now. But you know what? The rest of the Pacers are locked in, and I'll tell you who's not getting enough love is the I start to say the Colts. The Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle,
former Pistons coach. I was very upset when they fired him. And then they got Larry Brown and they won, but
and I didn't watch because I just kind of flip back and forth and I have it on as background music, or background noise as it were. But the other night during the Game 6, during the entrance song, Rick Carlisle came out to Many Men. The Pacers ran him out of the gym.
They did. They were up by 30 at one point. I saw.
So again, for everybody that come and hung out with us tonight during the show, thank you. And you know what, Jerry, we'll do this, because if you're here and you're watching, stop back by next Sunday, and you can throw your trade questions in there, and Jerry and I will get to those too.
Yeah, buddy.
We're going to support those that support us. So if you're in the chat and you want us to help you with a trade, you don't have to be a patron. You don't have to sign up for Fast Draft or anything else. You can just swing by the YouTube channel. But so you don't forget, like and subscribe, turn them notifications on, so that next Sunday night you're like, shit, I got to go ask Memphis and Jerry a trade question. But Jerry, until then, I'm going to go watch the Pacers.
That sounds like a great idea, sir. I'm wishing you good luck. I'm wishing good luck to all of you. Peace out.
All right, brother. I will see you next week. Thank you to all of you good people. Go Pacers.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.